to talk about this is former Pentagon official Michael Maloof. There's a Trump foreign policy and a Trump administration foreign policy, and the neocons have basically taken over Trump's foreign policy.
You're talking about your friend John Bolton?
He's not my friend, but yes.
You've spoken to John Bolton?
Yes.
What have you learned when you've spoken to John Bolton in the past?
Well, in 2003, I briefed him when he was the Undersecretary of State, and ostensibly on terrorism. However, his vision for that region was we were going to take Baghdad first, then use that as a springboard to take Damascus, Iran, Libya, and then Saudi Arabia. All the countries at that time which were regarded as enemies of Israel.
Trump is very likely going to try to bring a man into the administration named John Bolton. During the Bush administration, Bolton was the UN ambassador to the United Nations. He's kind of like Nikki Haley is today. And it's possible that what Donald Trump will do is fire H.R. McMaster and bring Bolton in as his national security advisor. But I'm telling you, in our lifetimes, there has never been a man who has pushed for war as frequently or as passionately as John Bolton.
Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh, Bashem Yahushai. Giving all glory and praises, honor to Yahweh, Bashem Yahushai, Bashem Rakhakundash. Alright, double honors to my apostles, the elders, a great millstone who rule well. Peace and salutations to the hopeful elect out here pushing this truth and sincerity, alright? Risking your lives and freedom to do so. And we love you. We appreciate you through the spirit of Yahweh, Bashem Yahushai. Shalom. Alright, I made a video a few months ago about John Bolton. I actually made two videos. The title was with John Bolton, the third woe cometh quickly. And in this video basically is just pretty much through the spirit I perceived that this dude John Bolton would kind of get this thing kicked off. Esau has his puppets. The Illuminati have their puppets. They put certain people in place. All right, these guys are all puppets, these politicians. And these puppets, what they do is they just bring forth an agenda. All right, John Bolton is known as a war hawk. All right, you can go back and watch those videos. Just look at my video playlist, and I did some basically went in on who John Bolton was and basically what his agenda is and what role he plays in this whole thing. All right, so John Bolton he's a war hawk. All right, he pushes for war. He did that in the Bush administration, and he's doing that right now in the Trump administration. So I'm going to continue to play this video. All right, I'll bring out scripture really quick. And basically, we're in those times, man. We're in those times, all right? And he's a major key in this thing, So this is Matthew chapter 24 and verse 6. It says, "And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet." All right. Now you see all these things happening, the government shutdown. All right, and wars and rumors of wars. While the nuclear testing going on. All right, people are talking. Different countries are talking about. Different nations are talking about having brand new missiles that can't be detected, such as Russia. All right, and they're backing up Iran. All right, and you seen in the beginning of the video where it talked about John Bolton trying to go behind Trump's back and start a war with Iran. Once they go into Iran, it's over. All right, World War III is going to kick off, and it's going to be nationwide. It's going to be international. All right, dealing with every nation, and that's going to bring about Yahweh Shai. All right, now of course we're waiting for the microchip, which is a mark of the beast, to come. All right, but all this stuff is going to kick off at the same time. So you see, this video is coming about the same time as around the government shutdown. All right, around the same time as the economy collapsing. All right, with the stock markets crashing. All right, these are all major prophecies that we've been looking for. The microchip has been pushed heavily. All right, the past few months. Okay, so who are you people talking about GMS does not have the 100% truth? All right, verse 7 says, "For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there should be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places." Now, is that not happening in Venezuela and France and what is it? Like earthquakes in diverse places, all these wildfires, all these tsunamis, and things like that. Absolutely. Okay. The what was that? Just like in Africa, like the everything, like all the prices have doubled. Venezuela, same there. Prices in Venezuela for everything has quadrupled. All right, there's famines going on. They have babies, literally kids dying in hospitals due to malnourishment. People have lost their jobs. Same thing is going on here in America with this government shutdown. And Barakatah Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, call hello Yahweh Hashem Yahushua. I pray that it continues and it gets worse. All right. So we'll continue to play the video so you can see what this guy John Bolton is all about.
And in crafting the plans to go to war with Iraq. And Bolton has pushed non-stop since 2001 for war with Iran, over and over and over. Every 2 years he comes out and says they're just months away from developing nuclear weapons. They're going to kill us all. We have to strike them now. Okay, that's John Bolton. This is John Bolton, who has been pushing Trump like crazy to go to war with North Korea. But funny thing is, John Bolton was pushing for war with North Korea long before Trump came along. You guys wonder, why is Trump after North Korea? Well, really, he's not. It's not about Donald Trump. It's about the people who control Donald Trump. They're taking all of these old agendas that they've had for a long time, incomplete missions. They're bringing the old team back in, installing them, marginalizing Trump, and carrying out the plans.
The former U.S. ambassador to the UN, John Bolton. Good to see you, sir. Welcome.
Glad to be here.
That's a pretty aggressive call. I haven't heard anybody say that we should, right now, go in and bomb those camps. Are you concerned about the retaliation that could come against Israel if such a move happened?
Well, I think we obviously have to be concerned about taking such an action, but the situation that our forces face in Iraq now is that they are being attacked. They are in danger. The strategic situation now is that if we don't respond, the Iranians will take it as a sign of weakness, and the attacks will increase.
So Israel is, on a second, but on a related note, Israel is now saying that they believe that that Iran will have nuclear capability, nuclear weapons capability by 2009, which is pretty much the earliest estimate that we've heard. How can they back that up?
Well, they apparently have some additional information. This is information that I think the Israelis would like to bring to our attention to help change that estimate, which has already basically been rejected by our Director of National Intelligence and congressional testimony. But this could be quite important and have a major effect on how we look at not just Iran's nuclear efforts, but its efforts militarily in Iraq, as we've just been discussing.
Given all that, do you think Israel would be supportive of a strike of these training camps in Iran on our part?
I think they'd be delighted, because I think they have confidence the message that would be delivered thereby to the Iranians.
Let's ask John Bolton, former U.S. ambassador to the UN and a Fox News contributor. So, Ambassador, you've written an op-ed today in the New York Times, and here's the headline. It's an eye-catcher. To stop Iran's bomb Iran.
Iran has made little secret.
So, all right, we already see what his agenda is, all right? So there's no question, man. There's no question about this, all right? My apostles and elders, all right, starting with my apostle Tahar, our apostles Tahar on down, and the Akim, the elders, and the Akim that pushes truth, all right? They're the only ones. GMS has been the only ones to talk about going to war with Iran, all right, for decades, all right. So okay, this Bible lives. So you people who thinks that GMS doesn't have the 100% truth and don't believe in this thing, all right, if you don't believe in this thing, man, you know, Romans 3:3 says, what if some did not believe? All right, does that mean that the prophecies are still not going to come to pass? God forbid. All right, just because you don't believe doesn't mean that these things are still not happening. Just because you don't believe doesn't mean John Bolton isn't still a war hawk. Just because you don't believe doesn't mean that he's not trying to go into war with Iran. All right, because we've been talking about going into war with Iran for decades now, and now it's finally happening. All right, because the Most High does things when He wants to do things, but He sends his prophets, all right, to warn you people. So how can you still scoff? Even with these prophecies kicking off right now, how could you still scoff? All right. This is Revelation chapter 11, verse 14. It says the second woe is past, which is World War III. World War II. All right. Woe means death and destruction. All right. It says the second woe is past, and behold, the third death and destruction cometh quickly. All right. The third woe cometh quickly. All right. With John Bolton, the third woe cometh quickly. All right. This man is trying to go into Iran, all right, and kick off this world's war. Well, it's like this world's war.
In the region of the Persian Gulf, the critical oil and natural gas producing region that we fought so many wars to try and protect our economy and from the adverse impact of losing that supply or having it available only at very high prices.
You see, he just told you that they go into these countries and invade to take over the oil and these different resources, all right? Hence why 9/11 was an inside job, all right? So you can go over there and get the oil stolen, all right? So you can go over there and control certain resources, set up different embassies and whatnot, man. So you people are not woke. You're talking about being woke and you're totally asleep, all right? They're literally telling you right here. All right, so and only men who have been screaming this stuff and sighing and crying about this stuff are the men of Great Millstone, man. You know, you try to humble yourself and say, you know, GMS isn't the only men that the Most High is dealing with, but it's like when you see the things that my apostles and elders have been bringing out, you know, through GMS, you know, and none of you other camps are doing this, then you kind of gotta wonder and guess, man. You know. So you gotta you know, put the pieces to the puzzle together, man, and you see that the men of Great Millstone have the 100% truth, man. All right.
The critical oil and natural gas producing region that we fought so many wars to try and protect our economy and from the adverse impact of losing that supply or having it available only at very high prices. And if they gain the upper hand in Iraq, as they have the upper hand now in Syria and Lebanon, our friends Israel and our Arab friends in the region are going to be sorely pressed.
If the Israelis decide to attack Iran, it doesn't matter whether there's civilian volunteers over there. The New York Yankees happen to be in Tehran. None of that's going to matter. They're going to hit Iran, and people like John Bolton he's one of these old neocon types. They're the ones who lied about intelligence to get us into the Iraq War, and they continue to hype.
Yeah, right. Okay, but this is Habakkuk chapter 1 and verse 4. No, Salakia. Verse 6, for lo, I raise up the Chaldeans, that bitter and hasty nation, all right, you Edomites, all right, which so-called white men, all right, which shall march through the breadth of the land to possess the dwelling places that are not theirs, all right. Who are the only people that go into these other lands, take them over, and you know, they've done it here and called this place America. When they took over the you Native Americans, you so-called Native Americans, all right, they went over into Iraq, all right. They always try to go into different land and say, oh, we're just there to help, just like they did over here to the so-called Native Americans. Oh, we're here to help and treaties and peace and make peace. Meanwhile, they spoke smooth things. All right, their words were like butters, but swords were drawn in their hands. All right, because the whole time they were thinking about war against them. That's them, man. This Bible's talking about them when it comes to these certain verses, man. Verse 7 says, they are terrible and dreadful. Their judgment and their dignity shall proceed of themselves. All right. And they're the only ones who dealt treacherously with everybody, man. All right. Verse 8 says, their horses also are swifter than the leopards and are more fierce than the evening wolves. And their horsemen shall spread themselves, and their horsemen shall become from far. They shall fly as the eagle that hasteth to eat. And that's what they are. They are hungry for money. They're hungry for resources. They exalt themselves as the eagle, such as it says here in verse 8. Who else is like them? And it says, verse 9, they shall come all for violence. Their faces shall sup up as the east wind, and they shall gather the captivity as the sand. All right, and Israel is known as the sands of the seas. All right, or the sand, like you can't. Basically, Israel is like counting the grains of the sands. All right, you cannot number us, and they have put many of us in captivity. All right, you can't even number as many people they put in captivity from the children of Israel. So that's how you know it's talking about them. All right, that's how you know this thing is talking about them, man. All right, I'm gonna continue this. I gotta go now. All right, but I'm gonna continue this Abaratazah. All right, Father's will, and try to make a part 2 to this. But you get the gist, man. It's really is not much more to explain. All right, John Bolton is known as a world hawk, and with him, the spirit has perceived. I have perceived through the spirit that he's gonna of course play a big role in bringing apart this third world's war, man. All right, so with that, I want to give all praise, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachel Kodash. Double honor to my apostles and elders, a great millstone, who ruled well, taught us his truth, and warned us of the things to come. All right, peace and salutations to the hopeful elect out there pushing the truth and sincerity, who risk your lives, all right, to do this work for the love of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. Shalom.